We're back in the John Force pit area at the all-new Bristol Dragway, and this Noble Showdown with 200 grand going to the winner. Earlier, Alan asked the obvious question.
Corey, what do you think of this handicap format?
The hardest part for me is when they're out on you, you can't hear your own car, so it kind of distracts you a little bit, but it's still a lot of fun.
I think they could take it away if they'd strap 200 or 300 pounds on them dragsters.
I'll let you know by midnight on Saturday night. We'll go over it then.
It's like John Force. It's way different.
As long as I can't break out, I don't care. I'll just go as fast as I can.
Is this handicap? I just thought I was getting left on like I always am.
I think nobody has an advantage. If you leave on time and do your own deal, race your own race, funny car win or dragster win. I drove them both, don't matter.
I love it. You can't beat it. I wouldn't want to be the dragster guys, I'll put it that way.
Well, we're down to 12 cars now, and of course, 2 of the dragsters went out by red light in round number 1. This is Kenny Bernstein. He's ailing this weekend. His right shoulder is giving him serious trouble, but he is still capable of driving. He is challenging Whit Bazemore at the wheel of the Chuck Etchells Kendall car. Bernstein caught and passed Etchells at about 1,000 foot. Look at the time, 4:57 at 315 miles an hour with a 450 reaction. Allen was there.
You can tell by the way Kenny took his helmet off. That one hurt. Let's see if this makes you feel better. 4:57.
Oh, that's great. Great job by Lee Beard, the Budweiser King team. That was wonderful. Yeah, it zinged me pretty good that time, but that's all right. Hey, it's going to be that way. We just live with it. You guys help me out down here.
If he makes that 200 grand, he'll be high-fiving with that sore arm.
The next pair in round number 2 racing was Chuck Etchells against Doug Coletta. Tom Anderson serving as the crew chief on the all-white car. That is Etchells driving for Jimmy Sickles. Doug Coletta, of course, the nephew of the car owner, Connie Coletta. Made this field by virtue of a win back in 1998. Red light start for Coletta. He could not wait. So for the second round in a row, Chuck Etchells advances via the red light by the Top Fuel dragster. The next pair pitted John Force and his new paint scheme, the Superman car, up against Jim Head. Winner back in 1997, that seeded Jim Head into this very elite 12-car Top Fuel field. John Force staging very precisely, as light as possible. Head went up in smoke, and Force went to the finish line with a 5:01.287. Alan Reinhardt was there to talk to him after the win.
You're still looking like the man of steel. 5:01 out there?
I tried to fly earlier. You saw I couldn't do that. When I was Elvis, I couldn't sing either, but bottom line, you race Head, you know you got to give it what you got. She's still getting loose way down track, but I know a lot of people look at that shallow stage up there, but you're trying to realize that if you got a better ET, you can still come back if you lose. So we tried to play the strategy both ways. Either way, win or lose, maybe we can still come back. So, well, we got away with it. But Casper don't pay us to think. They just pay us to win. But what the hell does that mean?
He said the other night he wins when he's confused.
He ought to win for the rest of his life, would be my interpretation. This is Gary Selsey, made the field by virtue of his Winston championship. His opponent is Cruz Pedregon at the wheel of his own race car. Cruz had some problems, but Gary Selsey did not. 4.60 at 313 miles an hour.
460, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, it is, but it was doing funny stuff. I was fighting it all the way down there. It was trying to get out of the groove, but Team Winston's going to the 3rd round, and that's good money.
Of course, the $200,000 sitting in everybody's eyes. This is a race between funny cars and Top Fuel dragsters, but in this second round confrontation, it was 2 Top Fuel dragsters. Tony Schumacher, who had defeated Tony Pedregon in the first round, racing Bob Vandergrift, who had defeated Al Hoffman. Something went wrong with Schumacher's car at the starting line. Vandergrift slowing to a 4.70 at only 300. Allen checked in with Tony Schuh to find out what happened.
That is the throttle cable on the Exide Top Fuel car. And Tony Schumacher, that 50-cent part might have cost you 200 grand, because I got to believe you could outrun a 70.
Absolutely. You know, we had this thing set up on a real good run, and we're seeing the cars go right down the left lane. So that's unfortunate, because that's definitely not the most expensive piece of machinery on this thing. But, you know, we're in Exide country. We really wanted to do a good here. Went by first round to take out one of the Force teams, you know, with Tony Petrigan first round. Man, we were really looking for a victory here.
The next pair in round number 2 pitted a pair of teammates, both drivers for Coach Joe Gibbs. Corey McLenithan at the wheel of the Top Fuel Dragster. Tommy Johnson Jr. at the wheel of the Interstate Batteries Funny Car. A good race. The head start went to Tommy Johnson Jr., but Corey Mack won it by half a car length, 462 to a losing 501. Tommy may have lost this round, but he'll be back again. Bill Stevens has the story.
Well, having a 24-car field in drag racing leads to a little bit of a mathematical speed bump. By the time you get to the semifinals, you've only got 3 cars. The NHRA didn't want anybody getting a buy run with all this money on the line, so they instituted this plan. The low ET loser in funny car and dragster in the second round would come back for round number 3. Tommy Johnson Jr. lost to Corey Mack in a great race, but his 5:01 elapsed time was the low ET for losers for funny cars in round 2. He'll move on. And in dragsters, the 461 that Doug Coletta ran and his loss against Chuck Etchels puts him back in again. Just like in the second round, in the third round, we've only got 1 pair of cars comprised strictly of Top Fuel dragsters. So far, the funny cars are not going quietly.
4 pairs of cars remain in round number 3 of Nitro Wars. It's the Winston Noble Showdown.